Hi, I'm Barbara, and I've got the top 10 things that I feel you should know when you give birth. Now, I've been an RN for 45 years and an IBCLC for about 14 years, so I've been doing it a long time, and I want to share with you today. The number one thing I want you to know, you need support during labor and birth, and you need to ask for it. Golly, if you don't have a significant other that can be there with you and support you, then find someone that you can, whether it's a mom or a sister or a friend, someone that can really be there with you. They do know that by having somebody there all the time supporting you and what you're wanting to do, that you can minimize interventions that may be unnecessary if you have that support. So that's a great way to begin, because if we do and we end up with a lot of interventions, some babies get confused as to what they need to do to feed well. So if we want breastfeeding to go off really easy, you want to have the least amount of intervention that's medically necessary. Number two, make that first hour sacred. Oh, that's about forming a family. If you've got your significant other there, you really want to be close and spend time just holding this newborn baby. And the best way to hold is immediately after birth, within 5 minutes, with skin to skin care. And that's having your baby snuggle right up against you. If baby's wet and gooey, the nurses can wipe baby off and get baby dry, but it's a great way to start. And that actually helps the baby to bond, to know where it needs to go for its feeding. Makes for a really great start and is a standard out in the community. And even if things don't go as you planned and you end up with a cesarean birth, skin to skin time can still happen, even in the OR. Ask for it. That's what we want you doing, saying, this is really what I want to do. So make that a priority for you. Ask, see if you can. If mom's stable, baby's stable, it's really an easy thing. In fact, even the nurses can do some of their regular procedures, banding the baby, taking a temperature while the baby is skin to skin with you, whether you're in an OR or whether you had a nice, normal, easy vaginal delivery. And lots of skin time in the first few weeks. It's great for growing a good milk supply. Number three, wait for the wait. Just take your time. Spend that 1-2 hours snuggling with baby first before you get the wait for baby. So take your time. You know, other people are wanting to know, how big is the baby? Baby's not going to change by a whole bunch in an hour or two while you're snuggling. Number four, I want you to know about exclusive breastfeeding. Make sure you're asking to stay exclusive. Some people might say, wait, isn't some breastfeeding enough? I want my flexibility. Well, any breastfeeding is better than none, but the benefits, the things that help reduce risks, are dose dependent. And that's why the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding during the first 6 months of life. That's really going to help your baby. And especially during this time, viruses, bacteria and stuff, it's going to help protect your baby by firing up that immune system when baby breastfeeds. So, are there risks to feeding the baby formula or what we call breast milk substitutes? Well, yes. There's an increase of asthma and allergies, increased risks for the baby for diabetes and other chronic diseases, even childhood cancers, lots of things. Even ear infections are greater in the formula feeding babies than in exclusively breastfed babies. So it is worth it to give your baby what you only can make for your baby. How do they stack up against each other? Well, there you go. Formula, artificial baby milk, has a few items in it, enough to kind of grow a baby. But look at all the great things that are in breast milk: antivirals, anti-allergens, anti-parasites, growth factors, all those things that's going to make your baby strong and healthy. Well, what if your baby medically requires more milk? Well, there are alternatives. One, you can hand express your own milk and be able to give that to baby. There is actually pasteurized donor mother's milk that can be made available in a lot of facilities nowadays. And then there is artificial baby milk if that is the only option that is available. But ask for options. And it even can be given to babies so that you can avoid bottles and the confusion that sometimes comes with babies getting milk very quickly to them versus having to work for the milk at the breast. Number 5, rooming in. Keep your baby close so that you can learn your baby's cues and respond to them. You really want to have that baby staying right in the room with you. That's going to be a huge help. So you're going to know when your baby's hungry because you've already been with your baby. Number 6, well, it's delaying the bath. There's been some great research out that shows us that babies that are bathed in the first few hours after birth don't do as well at breastfeeding as babies that are bathed 12 hours or 24 hours or maybe even a couple of days out there. They're not dirty. They actually have the residual of that vernix, that cheesy white coating on them, and that actually helps to prevent bacteria growth on their skin. So let them be. Do all that extra snuggle time in the first few hours. Number 7, well, it's the frequency of feeding. We want your mantra to be 8 or more in 24, 8 or more in 24. We want baby-led, breastfeeding on demand, and even during the night feeds for the first several weeks. And then watch your baby for the cues that baby is ready to eat again. Number 8, well, if baby is separated, then you need to ask to hand express your milk, to pump your milk. You more milk within the first hour of birth. Don't delay. Jumpstart that milk supply. Number 9, we're almost there. Avoid pacifier use, at least in the beginning. There are pros and cons that you need to know about. Beware, if you use pacifiers on day 1, it will change how the baby sucks on day 3, and that's usually the day the milk is coming in. So we want our babies to be efficient at milk removal on day 3 and not still just sucking on like a pacifier suck because they haven't ever learned to move milk. The American Academy of Pediatrics actually says to wait for about 4 weeks and then afterwards, then introduce the pacifier because they have found that it does reduce the chance of sudden infant death syndrome when used to help a baby go down for sleep at night or down for a nap. So you can bring it out then, baby will still be willing to take it, but get it off well to a good start at the breast first. It is helpful for babies that are in a NICU setting, so if you're in that situation, it can often be used to help calm a baby down when mama's not always available. Here we go. It's number 10. Who you gonna call? It does take a village. And whether that village is your friend down the street that's breastfed a baby, someone that taught you a class on breastfeeding or baby care, maybe it's your doctor, maybe it's the nurse in the hospital, maybe it's someone online or a group that you're on Facebook, maybe it's your significant other that can whisper over your shoulder, what a great job you're doing. Maybe you have family history with breastfeeding and it's your mom or your grandmother that can chime in and say, you're doing great. I see that you're doing a really good job. You want that support, but often you need to find out, who are you going to call? Make sure you ask. All these things being so important to make sure that your breastfeeding is going to go smoothly with as few bumps as possible. Take care now. Bye-bye.